Oh, okay, so obviously not everyone is going to want to believe this theory, but before you hit the dislike button, attempt to ratio me on Twitter, listen to me. I must clearly be doing something correctly in these theories because the last father theory, my Twilight Dracula theory, did very well. And for the people who listened to the video, thank you, you have my eternal gratitude. So at the very least, I ask you, listen to this theory as well and tell me what you think in the comment section down below. With that said though, be sure to hit the like button if I at least make you think even a little bit. And on the good note, we are doing a giveaway in this video. So if you want to be a part of that, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, notifications on, and let's just jump straight into. And massive shout out to Polsky for being my partner in crime for the thumbnail today. Okay, so jumping into it, in the previous installment, I mentioned whoever is going to be Asta's father, there is a problem. So let's get to the baseline first, sort it out and out of the way. The baseline problem is that Lucida has a body that steals magic, which I mean is fine. Henry steals magic, but that will not kill you. The issue is that she also steals life energy on top of that, and she goes on to say this is why she lives outside of the village, and we see in the panel she instantly kills a snake. Now the average lifetime of a snake is 9 years, which means in a span of a few seconds, as we can see the snake approach her, she instantly drains the snake's life of 9 years. So we come to the conclusion it's about 5 years a second, and on that second the snake's on the floor, it's over for that boy. Now there are some that say, oh well, it might affect humans differently, and to that I say we do not have the evidence. But what evidence we do have is that she drains 5 years a second, which means an average human would die in less than 20 seconds. Which brings us to the conclusion of last week's video that anybody who is going to be Asta's father must have no life force, so they must be dead, or should I say, undead. Now, when I say zombie, I do not mean zombies that eat your brains, blah, blah, blah. No. I'm talking about creatures that are dead and have no life force. Also, in the first ever Halloween color page for Black Clover, Yuki Tabata drew a few interesting things. The first was Noelle as a devil, and as we know, she has ties to the devil through her mother. Vanessa dressed as a cat, and less than 50 chapters later, she unlocked her cat powers. And funny enough, Finral is dressed as a vampire. See? Who's laughing now? Yuki Tabata clearly knows about vampires when he's got Finral to cosplay one. And finally, Asta's dressed as a zombie. Now this might be a super far reach, but it's something interesting you should keep an account on, because Tabata can easily expand to much more different species. And for the record, we already have undead creatures in Black Clover. For one, devils are not affected by the life force drain, which means Asta's father could be a devil, which would explain why Asta and Liebe look the same, but there is not enough solid evidence for that. But what evidence we do have is that Black Clover is a fantasy shonen jump manga that has already introduced zombies, elves, dwarves, devils, gods, being the church where Asta was raised in, demons, and way more. And if Tabata does plan for Black Clover to be a long-running series, then more races are on the line. Anything is a possibility. And since Yuki Tabata takes from folklore, the most famous European folklore is the story of Count Dracula. For the record, if you made it this far into the video, thank you for supporting the channel. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more crazy theories. Okay, so moving forward, one thing I neglected on in the last video is the calculation we just came up with. 5 years a second, give or take. Now, this would be also depends on the snake's life. You get the point. Too much math to calculate. But the point is, something with a short lifespan would die. For example, snakes, animals, and humans. But What about species with a very long lifetime? In most folklore, elves live for thousands of years, and suddenly, the 5 years a second life drain is no longer a problem when you have an average lifespan of 4,000 years or more, depending on which folklore you decide to use. Other than elves, dwarves in some folklore also have a very long lifespan, though of course much shorter than elves. Again, the 5 years a second becomes much less of a problem, and for the record, the first time Liebe talked to Asta, he even called Asta a dwarf, though some say the Japanese term was actually short person rather than dwarf, so it's up for debate. And remember, Yuki Tabata always leaves hints in his manga for future events, so could Asta's father be a dwarf? Might already have an idea for a next video, but we'll save that for another video. A few other species, but much less likely to be Asta's father, could be giants. Again, much longer lifespan, and if you watch Seven Deadly Sin, the giant in Seven Deadly Sins, I'm not going to spoil who it is, but she can shrink herself. Werewolves, similar to vampires, they live a very long lifetime. Hell, at this point, God himself might have fallen in love with Lysida, and Asta might be the offspring. In Greek mythology, this is very common. There are so many gods that fall in love with humans and have demi-human children, so who knows, maybe Asta is a demi-human. I also want to shout out to my big bro Broku, who made a really cool theory that hell, what if Asta does not have a father, and that Asta's father might be Mana itself. The best example I can give you for this is Anakin Skywalker, where he has no father and he was simply born by a miracle. Though this might be unlikely, Broku does fully explain his video, so it's for sure worth a watch. Go give him some love and support. Be sure to tag him and say Sammy sent us here. With all that said, I think we simply do not have the full evidence to make a super comprehensive conclusion to who Asta's father is going to be. But hell, that will not stop me from making my best guesses and best theories possible for you guys to enjoy. So with that being said and done, what do you think of this video? Do you think the math was correct? Do you agree that it can be one or two things, either no life force like devils, zombies, vampires, werewolves, or beings, too much life force, for example, elves, dwarves, gods, giants, and so on? Thank you for supporting this video. Be sure to hit the like button. My name is Sammy as always. Peace!